Hey folks, welcome back to another Battling Brushes. This week, Rob and I are continuing our Wrath of Kings series. We had to take a break for a very important reason, so we apologize for that, but we are back in full swing, and we're going to go ahead and get these guys finished up. Not this week, of course, but we're going to get it done as soon as we can. Now, this week, Rob is going to be doing the Longhorn, the Ashmen Longhorn character, and then I'll be doing the Skorza Shield Breaker. So those are a couple of pretty neat models. So we're going to go ahead and get down to it. Let's get going. So this week I'm going to be taking care of the Shield Breaker, and as you can see from his picture here, he's got a whole lot of armor on, so we're going to be taking care of that first. And it's a silver, very light colored silver, but it's probably not going to be that light after I get done with it, just because I don't like the way that looks very much. But there's a whole lot of silver on this. As you can see, his weapon is all kind of silver and a little bit of gold thrown in there as well. So there's going to be a whole lot of predominantly armory, silvery looking color on this. So let's go ahead and get to that. So for the silver armor, I'm taking the shining silver color here from Army Painter, and put a little bit of, mix it with a little bit of water to thin it out a bit. But we're just going to go ahead and start hitting everything that we can see. And next I'm going to come back and hit the tunic and the leggings. Well, not the tunic, but the little roby thingy that hanging from the waist. Don't know what you call it. With some Altdorf Guard blue. And then we're going to come back with a blue ink and go over it so it's not as bright. But hopefully you'll see the effect that it has. Now we're not wanting to get on the silver very much, but there are some leather ties that we're not really worried about right now, because we're going to come back over that anyway and get the brown, so don't worry or fret. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of dry brush his skin and fur with this uniform gray. I don't want to use too much of it because I painted it base coat of black on purpose, because he's a very dark wolf-like character. So I'm just going to use the uniform gray to kind of touch up some of the highlights of his skin and fur. Now we're going to come back with some leather brown and hit some of those wrappings and belts and ties and stuff like that that are going around his arms and legs. And now that I have him pretty much the colors that I want him to be, I'm going to go ahead and give him a dark tone wash all over to just kind of make those recesses pop a little bit more. And we should be pretty much done. I'll put the base on him, of course, and then we'll be pretty much finished. And as always, the application of this is pretty liberal. You just want to make sure that you're highlighting the places that you want to highlight and shading the places that you want to shade. This is a pretty simple process. There's a reason why they call this liquid talent, because quite frankly, this is not very difficult, and it does make the model look pretty good. Makes it pop pretty well.
Hey Sam, great job as always. I like to take this time to apologize to everybody why we're a couple weeks late. Number one, we went to BGG Con, and then last week, unfortunately, my daughter took ill, and we had an unfortunate family emergency. So the reason that this is 2 weeks late, I apologize. I asked Sam and Tom if it was all right if I was able to skip my segments, and of course, them being as great as they are, they were more than willing to oblige. But we're back now, and we're going to get going, and we're going to be painting somebody kind of cool. We're going to be painting this dude right here, because he's like one of the main bad guys in this thing. It looks like he looks like he's going to cause a whole bunch of trouble. So let's get down to the table and get to work and see what we could do with this guy. So down to the table, I just wanted to show you that I'm not going to prime this guy. You don't have to prime every single time. It's when you want to draw out a certain color. What I wanted to do is I just wanted to get going on him, keep a good amount of detail on him. So I painted in his gray bottom here. We used a lead belcher for the sword, and then the rest of it's gray, but you'll see, brown. And I'm using that as more or less like the primer. So I kind of just put that all around on his gloves and on his back dress there. We're going to highlight that and bring that all out. So what we're going to do is work on his skin next. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a corn red, and the brown I used is beastal brown. So we're going to make his skin red, and we're going to make his hair black. So I'm going to show you how we're going to get that. We're just going to get all the base colors on him first. So let's get to it. Now, as you can see, I'm not worried about getting the red on his hair or anything like that, but I am being very careful around this brown area. I really just don't want, I'm working from the top, and then I'm working my way down. As you can see how I'm just doing that, because I really don't want to have to paint over that and break out the brown. So we're just making sure that we get that red in there. We're going to cover up that hair so we can be a little sloppy here and really just kind of work that in there. So let's come back after I got all this squared away. Okay, the next thing we did was got a corn red onto his body. We covered his beard in black, and then we used the shabby bone, which I'm just touching up right now. Nice and easy. And as you can see, it's just looking kind of basic, and that's what we want right off the bat. We just want this basic kind of paint job, because we're going to fill in with dry brushing and of course some of the washes that are really going to bring out some of the things that we really want to bring out here. So as you can see, we've got him pretty basic that we want. For some people, you could just stick it on a base and start playing, but if you notice, I don't have the base here for him, because we are going to do bases at the very end, and we're going to do some really cool things so he looks cool upon a homemade base. So why don't we let this guy dry, and then we'll come back and we'll start with some of our washes and stuff. The next thing I did is I just covered his entire body with a dark wash. I used a Newell oil on him, and all I wanted to do was just kind of get in the recesses in his face and stuff a bit, and then that'll help us to start bringing things outwards like we want to. We want to start bringing this guy outwards. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to let this guy dry, and then we're going to put a wash onto the horns here. Okay, as you can see, I darkened up the horns with a wash, and I've darkened him completely up with a wash. Okay, as we can visibly see. Of course, we don't need that on there.
What we're going to do is we're going to stop right here. And I know what you're saying, wow, this isn't even close to being done. The whole point is that next week we're going to have another model, which is the last model, that is similar to this. But I'm going to show you two different ways to highlight a big beastie like this. Okay? This one we already got darkened to where we want it to, and the next one we're going to do the same thing, but when we do our final highlights, you're going to see the contrast, and it'll give you an idea how to do one way and one the other way. Then the following week after that, I'm going to show you how to do the bases, and then we'll probably work our way into the playthrough at some time. So right now, I got this guy right where I want him, and next week we'll get the other guy. We'll have him all prepped, and then we will be doing some extensive shading, and we will be really concentrating on bringing out the cheekbones, the musculature, highlighting everything, and just really, really bringing things out. And we're going to do it on two different models in two different ways. So let's send it on up top there, and call it a day from the bench here.
Well, that's it from me, Sam. Why don't you take us on out of here and have a good time on the cruise next week.
Rob, there's absolutely nothing for you to apologize for, man. Family always comes first as far as that kind of stuff is concerned, so I'm not going to hold it against you. Nobody else is either. So everybody else, we want to thank you for joining us for Battling Brushes this week. We're probably not going to be having another episode next week because most of the guys are going to be on the cruise, myself included, and we won't be able to put anything together, but we'll be back full swing next week after that. So we want to thank you so much for joining us and supporting the show. We hope that next time you'll come back and join us again. So until then, we'll see you guys on the flip side.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.